Hi, I'm VK and this is SeriesTalks. Welcome to the recap and recommendations for April-May 2022. The month of April and May was the month where a lot of TV shows returned after a long break, where a couple of them had a fun with cryptic episode descriptions, where the art and the importance of letting go were screamed at our screens rather emphatically. Some were divisive in terms of audience and critics' reactions, where some started their wonderful initial journey and where some started their journey to the end. As usual, there were a lot of TV shows which premiered as the services were trying to get the shows before the Emmy cycle. Is this rush really necessary? Let's take the limited series category as the example. We know that there are a lot of contenders for this category, and yet all the services pushed its shows, rivaling for the eyeballs in the last couple of months. I get that each service needed its shows to be presented in the award cycle, but some services release shows where its representation has already have a good footing. That's what is strange to me, as why do they have to dump everything all at once, where you might miss the opportunity to get a good viewership. Apart from this, the last couple of months also saw the premieres of some of the busiest shows for Netflix ever, like Ozark, Bridgerton, and the return of long-awaited Stranger Things. But the most talked about topic from Netflix was this graph. Let's keep all these business related talks aside and get into the video where we go through some of the most interesting titles that were released in the last couple of months. As there are a lot of TV shows to go around, I have provided the time codes down below in the description. Be sure to check out the whole video for the must watch picks from each streamer or service for the month of April and May 2022. Now without any further ado, let's get into the shows service wise. First up, as always, let's start with HBO and HBO Max. Hacks. Hacks was my most favorite TV show of the last year, and this season not only lived up to my huge expectations but also surprised me and brought me back into its world just 5 minutes into the new season. And it assured that the show slays and will continue to slay as long as the show runs. Both the leads got a meaty role once again, and they chewed every scene that they were in. Not only them, the other supporting characters had very good subplots as well, which enhanced their character arcs. It seemed that they were leaning on Jimmy and Kaila's scenes a little bit in the first 2 episodes, but by the end, those were justified with a complete arc. The end left the characters in a very interesting position, and it makes for a few perfect spin-off options if they decide to make this a series finale. This definitely will go as the must-watch pick. Julia. The dramedy follows the lives of Julia and her friends in the first year of her TV show, The French Chef. This good old, feel-good show hit the right spots throughout its run of 8 episodes. Hats off to the writing staff for giving each character, even the one-off ones, an arc to remember with nice backstories and such. And each one of the actors made their role a memorable one. Not only does it deliver positivity, but also contain enough material to make this first season a huge hit and a must-watch pick. Minx, the show about the feminist magazine with a twist, had a pretty good first season. They started off their journey really well, and the great cast and crew made each character a memorable one. And as the season went on, this character-driven comedy added more depth to each of the characters, which made the show interesting to watch. But the final 2 episodes were a little let down for me, as they failed to capitalize on the setups done throughout the season and ended with a lot less banger of an episode than expected. That said, the end has opened up a lot of more interesting possibilities to explore in the second season. Winning Time. If you want pure fun for 10 hours of a TV show, I really suggest you to try the star-studded basketball dramedy. The show focuses on the first year of Lakers Showtime era. The MVP of this show is without a doubt the casting department for pulling off this amazing cast. As I said before, the HBO show is a joyous ride, and it makes it a must-watch. Close Enough, one of the very first Max originals, returned this month for its 3rd season, and just as the previous outings, this season 2 was wacky and provided us with 9 little fun episodes. Tokyo Vice. I loved this show, and its setting very much. The execution throughout the season was wonderful, and the pilot directed by Michael Mann brings you into the world of Tokyo Vice pretty quickly. The detailing and the pathos given to every character is just another level of brilliance from the writing team. They have carved out each character so beautifully that one will care for almost all the characters by the end of the first season. The only nitpick I have from this excellent first season is that they rushed the plot for a certain character at the end of the season. This densely packed slow burn is a must watch for all crime thriller and slow burn drama lovers. Flight Attendant. Cassie, her friends, and her colleagues returned for another mystery-filled dramedy this last month. It follows the main cast 1 year after the events of the first season. Cassie is sober and always looking for different ways of getting into trouble. This outing, just like the previous one, has little problem with balancing the tonal shifts. And in my opinion, the drama part of this season worked pretty well when compared to the comedy portion, which in places fell flat. And another big problem with this season is that you can predict the final twist miles away. But if you like the first one and you have some time to kill, you can give this season a try, especially for the Kaylee Cooker's good performance. HBO staple dark comedy returned after long break and is back with a bang. While the first episode felt a little bit odd, only because of watching the show after a long while, starting from the amazing second episode, the show never looked back and fired on all cylinders. When we meet Barry, he's in a mental space of giving up almost everything, which in turn amped up the absurd comedy level a bit high. I feel that the second and the sixth episode should definitely be nominated for writing and direction categories respectively. The subplots involving Jean, Sally, Fuchs and Nohahank are nicely developed, just like the previous seasons, which provided them with an ample story to work out with. And by the end of the season, every character was left in an interesting place, and I am eagerly looking forward to the return of the fourth season. And not to mention, the season finale was an excellent piece of TV. And finally, this too falls under the must-watch category. Staircase. Colin Firth did an amazing job in the true crime show, which was adapted from the documentary of the same name. I haven't watched the documentary previously, so I was intrigued to see how the real events unfolded, and the show, through its non-linear storytelling, had more control over the narration, which was a plus point, as it tried to differ from the other true crime shows a bit. The character dynamics and the growth throughout the span of 16 years were nicely captured, and all the actors did an amazing job. Made for Love. The second season of the show starts just where we left the characters in the previous season. Hazel has returned to the compound in exchange for her father's treatment. This season nicely expanded the show, but the failure to correctly pace the story hampered their success a bit. It had its fair share of moments to be liked and loved, but the finale didn't work for me. The acting, as always, was good. We Own the City. Just brilliant is my one-word rating for the show. Created by the Deuce creators, George Pelecanos and David Simon. This series shows the workings of the Baltimore PD, especially the Gun Trace Task Force, the DOJ, and the US Attorney's Office, and the state of these departments before and after the incident of Mr. Freddy in a very detailed manner. The set detailed nature of the show makes the viewing a rewarding experience, and the writing staff not only made the show interesting to watch, but also made it in such a way that makes us ponder over the questions the show asks. Approaching a thing through different views and approaches makes the show a must-watch. Now on to FX and Hulu. Under the Banner of Heaven, this true crime limited series starring Andrew Garfield is another brilliant show that aired last month. The to and fro between the partners and the ideology differences and debates between the detectives and the suspects were neatly done. Andrew Garfield played the role to perfection as he brings out his internal struggles with faith nicely. The overall execution of the show keeps one engaged throughout the run, as it hooks us with new reveals periodically. Acting wise, everybody did a wonderful job, and lastly, I think the parallel flashbacks of the Morbans add an extra layer to the show. This too falls under the must-watch category. The Girl from Plainville. The other true crime show from Hulu had a solid season, but as an overall product, this too feels like an average affair. The show was not good, but not that bad either. It was just okayish. The execution and the story were good, but I think they would have made a bigger impact with the condensed season. Pistol. This limited series directed by Danny Boyle has a unique and interesting direction style, but as an overall product, I didn't like the show that much. Dropout. The first tech-based limited series in the last couple of months bowed out excellently with Amanda Seyfried giving a performance that might secure her an Emmy. Better Things. One of the best shows of the year and of the last decade ended its run in a manner that only this show can nail. The end was so apt and brilliant for this brilliant show and for all its brilliant characters. Be it the episode set in England, be it the personal interactions, be it the food, or be it the everyday mundane stuff, everything's done brilliantly, which makes this show the one to watch. Atlanta. The season sure is a divisive one, isn't it? The return of the show after a long break increased the expectations, and the sudden lack of the main cast in the majority of the season's run left many fans a little disappointed. Well, yeah, there is definitely disappointment in not seeing one of the best ensemble on TV together, but the quality of the show remained the same in my opinion. The anthology episodes all measured from good to best, as none of them lack quality. Though none of the episodes were at the level of Teddy Perkins or Fubu, the white fashion and the big payback were nicely done. Next up is AMC, Better Call Saul. The first part of the final season aired for the better part for the last 2 months, and for the last 2 weeks, I am missing my Better Call Saul Tuesdays, and I'm pretty sure that I may not be the only one to feel this way. That's how much of an influence the show had on me. Just like the previous seasons, this too was meticulously curated by Peter Gould and Vince Gilligan. The split may seem a bit odd, but the surprise cliffhanger made this mid-season finale feel like a mid-season finale. Everybody in the acting department nailed their role once again, and I will be very upset if Priya Sihan doesn't get her much deserved Emmy nomination again. Each episode built the story cleverly and helped the story move forward towards an endpoint at its own pace. There is no question that the best drama on TV right now definitely comes under the must-watch category, and if you are someone who have watched Breaking Bad and yet to start Better Call Saul, please do. There is a high chance that you will like this show more than the predecessor. Slippin'Jimmy, the spin-off of a spin-off, is animated shorts. It focuses on the childhood days of Jimmy and his friend. I thought the show would be a little more grounded, but this show turned out to be a totally different one than my expectations with wacky comedy. I liked the last episode a lot, and I thought a little more episodes like that would have been really nice. Now on to Peacock, Girls Forever. When the show returned, it took its time to get footed, but as the season went on, it got better and better with each episode. Same as the first season, the positives are the high jokes per minute ratio, funny reference-filled one-liners, the chemistry among the group, and the most importantly, the catchy songs. The season 2 is replicating the success formula perfectly, but that's a con too, as it didn't introduce any new story elements to the mix, and I'm missing the funny catchy songs like The New York Lonely Boy, which was woven into the story nicely. Now on to Netflix, Green Eggs and Ham. One of the surprising shows of 2019 with a stellar voice cast, returned for its second season. The show follows the leads in their new adventures where they might blow each other up. Though at times it lacked the magic of the season 1, the season 2 had its moment and was a fun ride. Heartstopper, this coming out of age story, threads some familiar lines, but the execution style and the warmth it gives us a feel-good show makes it an interesting watch. If you have some time and some craving for this kind of show, you can give this a try. It won't disappoint you. Ozark. The final set of episodes came at the fag end of April, and I felt these episodes were long, they stretched out plots, and sometimes the episodes. The plot and the death of a main character were not a major concern for me, but the final shot didn't quite justify the time we spent with Jonah. But the bottom line is, if you like this show very much from the beginning, you would probably like these last episodes too. The G Word, the show from Obama's production house, is a documentary about the government. It was a good introspection into the daily works of the government, and it asks basic but important questions to the viewers. Though this Adam Conover show was good, it missed something, due to which it misses hitting the home run. Russian Doll. This is another Netflix show which returned after a long break. I was skeptical before watching the season, as the first season had a very good run and a perfect end. But as I started watching the show, I got into this world and I liked this season as well. The important thing for me is that the show didn't disturb the first season's finale and tried a whole new approach with that unique Russian Doll touch. But the things like the little convoluted plot, the show taking little more episodes to come to the central story, the lack of Alan bogs this show a little. Stranger Things. Is it the best season after the first one? Maybe. But it did start those conversations, right? So obviously, this long-awaited season didn't let the fans down. It is already climbing the charts to become the most watched show on Netflix ever. This season takes place a few months after the events of the third season. From the get-go, the stories for each character and the group were well established. All the 5 separate plots have equal weightage, and each of them had its fair share of adventure and thrills. In the acting department, it was Sadie Sink who stole the show in the first part of the penultimate season. I agree that the splitting of the season has other pros than the quarterly subscribers report, but it also had one con, which is that it reduces the impact for a certain group by the end of this part. And finally, coming to the much talked about length of each episode, I really felt the length in a few areas in a few episodes, but that runtime surely did help the arcs for each character of the season to be fleshed out. The other positive of the season is the expansion of Upside Down. Next up, Love, Death plus Robots. The third season of LDR had a bunch of very good episodes. It was little dark when we compare it to the most optimistic season 2, but it lacked the shocking values when we compare it to the comparably darker season 1. Most of the season's episodes were solid, and my personal favorite is Bad Traveling. Lincoln Lawyer. This show fulfills the David Kelly's quota for this month, as he is quite busy in the last few months. This show, which is based on the book series of the same name, is a very simple legal procedural. If you want to watch a simple show, in your free time you can give the first episodes a try. Now on to Prime Video, Outer Range. There is a giant hole, the backyard of Josh Brolin's family. The plot is a very intriguing one, and I know that many people like the show, but for me, this show fell below weight by a huge margin, as it didn't capitalize on the central item, and also not moving the central plot forward. Undone. Undone written after a long wait, and I'm very much excited to say that the wait was totally worth it. This mind-bending show got the right emotional beat to anchor the season around. They found some very exciting ways to go about it. The animation style helps them a lot, and the creative team utilized the animation to its fullest potential. And without a doubt, the show too comes under the must-watch category. And the last thing is, if you haven't started the show yet, please do. You will most probably love the show. Now on to Disney Plus, where all the current big shows in terms of viewership lie. Obi-Wan Kenobi. The 6-episode limited series event focuses on Obi-Wan and a mission, which may lead to more questions about some dialogues and character actions in the New Hope. This mission takes place 10 years after the events of episode 3. Ewan McGregor is as brilliant as ever in the titular role. The show didn't try to be an ambitious one in the storytelling department by having any convoluted plot, which turned out to be one of its biggest positive, as it provides much warmth with its nostalgia-filled 30 minutes. The treatment of the show, a 6-part movie, is a little let down for me. Moonknight. The Oscar Isaac-led MC show faced the same issue in pacing that the previous shows faced. The first 3 episodes took their time to settle in, while the remaining 3 episodes felt rushed. In my opinion, expanding the season to 8 episodes may help the shows going forward. WeCrashed. The last of the tech-based limited series that may be submitted for the CS Emmy had a solid run. Both of the leads excelled, especially Anna Hathaway. The high production values, in addition to the performances, makes this a good watch. It doesn't have any such negative points, but one thing is that the show didn't rise above that mark. Pachinko. This beautiful show is one of the best written and acted shows of the year so far. The story follows the hardships that a particular family has to endure through the course of 4 generations. The story is correctly paced, and the screenplay juggles between the characters and the timelines with ease, makes this a very good watch. The importance given to each characters makes the viewer more connected to those characters. Most importantly, the show conveys an important and much needed positive message, that you don't have to feel lonely, as there would be someone to help and guide you even in your darkest of times. The technical aspects, the superb acting, the intro, and the emotional crux of the story makes this a must-watch pick. Slow Horses. The spy drama set in the Slow Horses department of the coveted MI5 is an intelligent black comedy. The cast led by Gary Oldman is doing a very fine job. The central plot of the first season, the simplicity in its execution, the great technical aspects, and the perfectly executed black comedy makes this a must-watch, and I'm very glad that they have renewed it for 3 more seasons. Now, moving on to other network and cable shows. Mr. Mayor from NBC was cancelled just when the things got interesting and funnier. I don't think I will miss the show very much, but I would like to have more episodes of the show. Abbott Elementary from ABC closed out its perfect first season with a perfect setup and a perfect end. NBC's This Is Us. The final set of heartfelt and beautiful episodes from this show aired over the course of last 2 months, and I have some very serious issues in the third part of the final season, such as the time jumps in the Katabi episode, the exposition in the episodes after that due to the time jump, some choices made for the character of Kate, and finally, Kevin's eventual partner, aka the love of his life. I left all the differences aside, and when I thought, did the episode satisfy me? The answer to this question is a resounding yes. Except for the Katabi episode, every other episode as an individual entity surprised and made me emotional and happy by the end of it, which is what I expect from the show as a fan. The finale was a heartfelt one, and they managed to give most of the characters a meaningful ending that showed the 6 seasons worth of character growth. And for me, the penultimate episode was way more emotional and awesome, as it brought back the peak of This Is Us. And also, Mandy Moore was awesome. Showtime super pumped. This show was another tech-based miniseries. It started its run in the month of March. This too was a solid outing, and I'm pretty sure if you like the creator's other work Billions, you might like this one as well. Life After Life from BBC. This show had Thomasin McKenzie as a star. This show explores the what-if scenario of living the life over and over again if you are given a choice. The show nailed its casting and the tone, which boosted the show massively. The deep emotional scenes were pulled off magnificently by the entire cast, and especially by Thomasin McKenzie and Isla Johnston, who both play Ursula, the lead character, in various stages of her life. The small arcs given to the supporting characters expands the show more and makes it more emotional. The choice of having a narrator for the show should be applauded as it adds another layer to the show. The performances and the good execution of the story makes this gut-wrenching period drama a must-watch. Derry Girls from Channel 4. The final season of Derry Girls had everything that you want from this comfort show. There were plenty of laughs, emotional moments, Joe vs. Jerry, Uncle Colin, Sister Michael's deadpan deliveries, and witnessing some important historical moments through the eyes of the characters. This season also had a good reunion episode with an extra cast. This must-watch series' final season was a befitting ending to this amazing show. And lastly, on to TVF, Gullak. The latest season of Gullak made the show even more popular than it already was, and I am one of them who ventured into the show upon hearing so many good reviews for the third season. The whole show is wonderful, and this season is not an exception either. The feel-good moments interlaced in the day-to-day life of a middle-class family who's happy and content with their life feels refreshing and nice. This grounded show is yet another must-watch pick, especially for its heartwarming tales. Panchayat. TVF gave another good season of television for this workplace comedy. The romantic part of the season was a good addition. The end was very emotional but felt a little random for this season. So with this, we come to the end of the video. So to summarize, the must-watch picks from the last 2 months are as follows. The month of June 2 has a full stack of exciting programming lined up. If you get time to check out the following shows, we can have a discussion at the end of the month. If I missed out any of the shows, either in the upcoming section or in the recap of the last couple of months that you look forward to or liked a lot, leave your thoughts and recommendations down below in the comment section. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. See you soon in the next video, and until then, it's VK signing off.